welcome to the beautiful Sun Dome in Tampa, Florida. Today's Metro Conference game on Raycom features the Virginia Commonwealth University Rams and the Bulls of South Florida. Hello, everyone. I'm Don Russell along with Kyle Macy. And Kyle, you talk about wanting to play well. You want to do that late in the season because of seeding in the Metro Conference tournament. Both of these teams are doing that despite adversity. VCU, the adjustment without Kendrick Warren, and the young South Florida team.
Right, VCU, first of all, is looking for really 5 players to try to pick up the slack, but 2 in particular. Sharon Mills and Kenny Harris are going to have to do the job today. Sharon Mills, there you see his numbers, 12, 4, and 7-2. Not bad numbers, but he's going to have to extend those out for a full 40 minutes. And Kenny Harris, because he's a point guard, he's leading the Metro Conference in assists, but he's got to score some more points as well. Now for USF, Chris Coleman and Chucky Atkins are 2 outstanding freshmen. Coleman's giving up a lot of size, but plays real determined and works very hard in around the board. There you see his number, 6 boards for 6'3" is outstanding. And Chucky Coleman being touted as the Metro Conference Freshman of the Year. So he's leading 4 or 5 statistical categories among all freshmen. He's got a good chance at that award.
It's going to be interesting to watch the tempo in this game. We'll talk about that and much, much more. But first, you'll meet the starting lineups on Raycom. VCU and South Florida coming up from the Sun Dome right after this. And welcome back to the beautiful Sun Dome on a sunny day in Tampa, Florida. VCU and South Florida in the Metro Conference. And let's take a look at the starting lineups in today's game. First for VCU, McCoy and Mills the forward, Kasurin in the middle, Harris and Gibson in the backcourt. And of course, we talk about McCoy playing well. A great game against Texas in the last outing that VCU won on the road. And for South Florida, that young lineup with Coleman, Salters, Rush, Atkins, and Smith. And some interesting matchups we'll watch in this one, especially with some people inside.
But especially true with Coleman and McCoy, both similar size and real slashing type players. And then you talk about the point guard matchup. So there are some good matchups today.
Bobby Pascal doing a great job here at South Florida in his 7th year at USF. And there's the veteran coach, Sonny Smith, 17th year overall, his 4th at VCU. Should be a good matchup in the Metro Conference. And we'll be back with the opening tip after these messages from your local station. This is the Raycom Sports Network. Of South Florida and Tampa. We're in the Sun Dome on a sunny day here in South Florida. VCU and South Florida hooking up in this Metro Conference matchup. South Florida won its first league game a week ago that you saw on Raycom against Virginia Tech. VCU at 4-4. And Sonny Smith, talking to him yesterday, the adjustment they've made without Kendrick Warren was really successful, particularly when it came to tempo in that win at Texas.
It really was. The Texas game, they really slowed the ball down, only scored 66 points, but at the same time only allowed 60. So if they can continue that defensive work, it's going to be to their advantage.
Of course, South Florida will prefer, as we saw last week, an up-tempo game.
One thing you've got to like about this South Florida team is they just continue to work day in, day out. You know, the record's not that great, but they're surely giving the effort.
You see the series record between these two. VCU with the advantage, but USF has won 5 of the last 7 games. VCU won the first one earlier this year in Richmond by 20, but it was a much closer game than that. Larry Ware, Danny Hooker, and John Constable are officials out of the Metro. Eugene Kasurin stands in against Donzel Rush. And we are underway in the Sun Dome as Coleman comes up with the first possession of the game.
Look for VCU to go man-to-man. Unless they get in foul trouble, then they'll drop back into his zone.
This is Coleman looking inside, kicks it back out. Quick step to the basket. The shot knocked away from Salters. He gets the miss, puts it up, no, tip, no. And Coleman comes out of there with it. And Kyle, in the first game, VCU dominated on the offensive glass. There's Chucky Atkins. What's the 3?
So anytime a team gets 3 or 4 attempts, it's going to be to their advantage. That time, South Florida finally got the 4th shot to go down.
Matter of fact, in the first meeting in Richmond, South Florida in the first half had more offensive rebounds than VCU had total rebounds in the first 20 minutes.
Right. Sonny Smith yesterday said they've been doing a better job on the boards except for one team, and that was this South Florida Bulls team.
VCU gets the ball to Mills in a good position, but he can't get it down. The 3-0 game, South Florida just underway on Raycom in the Sun Dome. Atkins, a real candidate, along with Andre Davis. Right now, they probably would be the 2 leaders for the Metro Freshman of the Year. Of course, Lavedro Simmons out of Tulane and Sean Smith from Virginia Tech have to be considered as well. Some great first-year players in the league. Sharp pulls up, banks it off the glass, no. And Mills, the board for VCU.
Here's where Harris has to take control of the ball club as he does this time, pulling it back out through the hands of Gibson.
Harris can't hang on, so Derek Sharp looking down to rush. He almost got it down. Good job of catching the ball. Excuse me, it was Salters that almost got it. And here's Tyrone McCoy. He's been hot as of late, but he can't hit the long-range jumper.
Well, South Florida definitely wants to run. They're getting the ball up and down, getting the shot off the first sign they get of the basket.
And Derek Sharp comes up woefully short on that effort. And Sharp was a guy that has really struggled in his shooting this year, but in the last 5 games, he shot over 45% from beyond the arc. 3-0 our score, South Florida. We're under the 18-minute mark. Gibson the 3. And there's Salters for the miss.
We sure don't need the shot clock yet, do we?
The tempo certainly upbeat, to say the least. Salters wants to get it down the rush, but he was covered up nicely by Kasurin. Coleman likes to go to the baseline, does. Here's Salters with his strength blocked, but a foul. I think they're going to get Mills on the foul. Sonny Smith thought it was all ball. But there you see the Bulls taking it right to the hoop, Kyle.
Well, Jesse Salters is a very good slashing type player, going hard to the basket. He tried to play the 3 position early in the year, but had that knee injury last year and kind of slowed him down. So they moved him back to the 4, and he's been very good getting the ball in low and either getting a basket or drawing some fouls. That time drew the foul.
Good look at Jesse Salters, to transfer from Florida State. And he rolls it in. Jesse had a career-high 16 rebounds in the first time these two played in Richmond. He has scored double figures in 9 straight games now, and 18 of 21 contests on the year. And he hits them both. And South Florida out to a 5-0 lead, 17-17 as you can see, left in the first half. Russell, Kyle Macy. Our producer Tom Yoon and director Toby Jenkins. We're glad to have you along on Raycon. McCoy with the penetration, banks it up, it goes, and he draws the foul. Here's a guy that played so well early this year, Kyle, and then kind of went into a slump for a while, but he certainly got it back against Texas when he had 27 points.
Had a career day. Take a look at the hard drive down the middle, gathers himself, goes up strong, and just got bumped underneath, and I don't know if he called bank. We may not want to give that basket to him.
Foul is on Jesse Salters, his first on South Florida, and McCoy caps the 3-point play, and it's a 2-point lead for USF and some pressure, and it forces a turnover. And then VCU gave it right back.
VCU showed a 1-2-1-1, and Harris thought it was going to go out of bounds, then thought it didn't, and when he went to get it, he was standing out of bounds. So just a kind of a mental mistake there.
That's right. He was on the sideline. It would have been a turnover, and VCU would have had the ball, but just a mistake mentally by the Rams that time. Derek Sharp working against Terrence Gibson. And Sharp lost it, but it belongs to South Florida. That's quite a matchup. They're really pushing and shoving on that possession. Right down in front of us. There's Salter. He's so strong, but doesn't get this one. Kept it alive, however, but Kasurin comes out of there with it, and here comes Gibson and the
great
Rams.
pass.
Yeah, Mills finishes it off. Sharon Mills.
Terrence Gibson doesn't get a lot of recognition, but he's just a solid role player. That time, an excellent bounce pass for the layup.
Good awareness that time by Gibson, you're right. And Sharon Mills, who, as a senior, actually played better when he started coming off the bench with the loss of Henrik Warren, though. However, Mills has been forced back into that starting role. He's going to have to really step forward. VCU wants to control the tempo, but they will run with a purpose.
And this is a real nice bounce pass. Oh, just thread the needles right through there for Mills to go in for the slam.
Very nice basketball by VCU, and now we have a foul underneath called against South Florida. It's going to be on freshman Chris Coleman. You're right, Kyle. We highlighted him in our pregame show. He's a tough Chicago kid. Earlier in the year, he didn't have any hair on top of his head, but just like his game has improved, his hair has grown as well.
He brings a different aspect to the Bulls team. A lot of these players like to shoot the outside jumper. He's more a slasher, take it to the hole type player.
Mills left open. Normally would hit that 13-footer, but he doesn't on this occasion. We're tied at 5. 16 minutes to go. Coleman left open, and he came up short. McCoy and the Rams. Nice little stutter step, and Tyrone McCoy has 5 of the 7 points, and 8 points in the game, I should say, for VCU.
Picking right up where he left off against Texas.
It is 7 points. They put 8 on the board, so we were right the first time. Now they've corrected the scoreboard. Here's Salters. Sharp out of the corner. It's a 3. And a lot of people over here wanted a foul, but they didn't get it. Derek Sharp with the trifecta.
Sharp's an outstanding shooter when he can have time to get his feet set as he did that time.
So that 3-pointer puts the Bulls back in front by 1. Here's Kasurin down low, and the Russian puts it up and in. His first 2.
I guess we shouldn't say the Russian was rushing on that shot.
No, he wasn't. He was patient.
Okay.
A seesaw affair. VCU back in front by a point. Both these teams really getting after it defensively out of the man-to-man.
You see a little bit different strategy on the defensive end, though. VCU, you see, is sagging back, really filling the lane, and South Florida on the other end likes to come out and really extend the defense.
A little bit too much sagging there because they leave Jesse Salters open, who cashes in, and there is Harris on the penetration. Mills gets the follow effort, and Mills is going to get the rebound foul. That is the second foul on Sharon Mills, and that will put him in some foul trouble. 14-18 left in the first half. The Bulls lead it over VCU by 1. Back to the Sundome after this. You can see the sun shining brightly through the top of this building. A little warm in here today, Kyle.
It's a beautiful day outside. There you see the field goal percentage so far in this first half. South Florida not quite on track yet, only 3 of 13.
South Florida winning 2 of its last 3 games. They only lost to number 8 Cincinnati here earlier in the week. And in those 2 games they won, they shot over 50% for only the 3rd time on the year. This is David Delancey in the game for South Florida. Also in the game is Sean Allen. And Rodney Ashby is in for Sharon Mills for VCU. Eric Sharp rimmed it. So Sonny Smith forced to go to his bench because Mills picked up those 2 quick personal fouls. McCoy, little dribble drive, off-balance jumper. He is a fine-looking sophomore out of Bethune, South Carolina.
You know, he seems a lot more relaxed, too, since Kendrick Warren is out of the lineup. He knows that he's got to be more explosive on the offensive end and is looking more to the basket.
The VCU advantage is 1. Delancey, his 3 is too strong, and Harris goes in to get it. Up to McCoy, back to Harris.
Good pass.
Nobody picks up McCoy, but he didn't get it down.
Didn't get it down, but that was a good recognition by Harris. Sometimes the easiest pass is the best one, as that time proved.
Delancey will try again. This time he missed it all. Follow-up by Allen is there. Sean Allen, who has been averaging quite a bit of playing time. He's played 39 minutes and scored a lot of points in the last 4 games.
He's really playing a lot better since he's gotten the extended time, too. And I think as he goes on and gets a little bit stronger throughout his career, he's just going to be an outstanding player.
So the Bull lead is 1. And Gibson misses the 3 out of the corner. Kasurin kept it alive, and Rodney Ashby chases it down. And there's Harris, and he is hammered, but first he charged. Harris went down hard, but he initiated the contact, so it'll be an offensive foul against VCU.
Well, Harris had an opening to the lane, but instead of stopping and pulling up a short jumper, he tried to extend onto the basket and just pretty much ran over 2 or 3 guys that time for the foul.
And that's when you can flip a coin as well. Some movement in there.
You know, the thing about that I don't like is it's right underneath the basket. If a player takes a charge under the basket, they ought to just let it go, a no call. My own personal opinion.
Put the striped shirt on there, buddy. Mike Hargett is in the lineup for VCU, as is Chris Brower, the 3-point shooting specialist. Delancey, Kareem Washington also in for the Rams. Here's Allen with the little jump hook that's short. So right now, Sonny Smith has only Kasurin on the floor, left on his starting unit.
I don't know if we have that on tape in the truck, but I tell you, that was an excellent post-up position that time by Sean Allen, calling, screaming for the ball as he stepped into the lane trying to post up. There you see Sharon Mills sitting on the sideline, not happy about having 2 fouls, having to come out.
Kasurin got the foul. Allen will go to the line. Sean Allen, a very fluid and athletic freshman out of Wendell, North Carolina. Good free throw shooter, 80%. That third game average not indicative of how valuable this young player has been to Bobby Paschal.
South Florida now showing some of their own pressure full court.
Discern, the big man trying to bring it up, stops his dribble, needs some help, and Washington has to tiptoe the timeline. So VCU had to work to get that one in the front court. Hargett, the transfer from George Mason.
Brower for three.
He'll let it go, and it's nothing but the bottom of the sack. Chris Brower.
It's a set play by VCU, running that double pick, one across and one down the lane for Chris Brower to get open for the three. And if he gets a second, it's going to go in. Outstanding shooter.
He is indeed. That is his 45th three-pointer of this season.
Kind of got that Elvis look today with that haircut, doesn't he?
He does. And the socks, of course. There's Atkins on the little stutter step. 11-12 left in this one. 14 all our score. VCU and South Florida from the Sun Belt. The Metro Conference standings look like this, Kyle Macy. Tulane and Louisville. Now, they play on Raycom next Saturday. That could decide the league championship in the regular season. But Louisville first must play UNC Charlotte in Freedom Hall on Thursday, so they can't look past that game.
Right. The 49ers are playing pretty good basketball right now, so they can't look ahead to the Tulane game. But that other game, the Tulane-Louisville game, should be just an outstanding contest. Everybody else seems like they're just kind of fighting for their seed position for the Metro Conference tournament.
Of course, Tulane won the first game in New Orleans, so the rematch on Raycom next Saturday from the Hall. Should be a good one. Chris Brower can't hang on to this pass. Kasurin took it way too strong to him.
Well, Brower tried to curl cut that pick, and as he's showing the referee, the defender had a hold of his jersey, pulled it completely out of his pants.
So South Florida with the opportunity to break the tie. Sonny Smith's going to make the move and get Sharon Mills back in just a moment. There's Atkins. Good movement by South Florida out of their offense. A lot of motion.
Real good. And Bobby Paschal tried something a little different that time. He moved Chucky Atkins down to the two-guard spot and let Sharp handle the ball in the first run of the play. It didn't work, so now they kicked it back out and set it up. They were actually looking for Atkins to come off the double pick for the shot.
Now the shot clock winding down to around 10 seconds now. And Atkins going to work on Hargett one-on-one. Atkins, here's the three. Yes! They ran it down, and Atkins has 2 threes in the game.
That's really frustrating if you're a VCU defender as well. You've worked for a full 45 seconds, and then he gets a shot off right at the buzzer, and it goes in for 3.
Raycom is pleased to welcome our viewers tuning in on Prime Network and their nationwide family of regional sports cable affiliates today. We're glad you joined us on Prime. And you see Mills come back into the lineup for VCU. So Sonny Smith knows he needs something inside, so Kasurin goes out, but Mills is going to have to be a little bit careful, but not too cautious.
Well, he'll move him now down low to the center position where he won't be out on the floor as much where he's at the starting forward spot. But it is a little bit of a gamble.
And South Florida went right inside to Allen, who missed a shot as Mills had to play a little soft.
I'm sure they'll try to exploit him down low if they can, get that third foul, because that'd be a big boost to them. They get him on the bench.
South Florida's won 2 of its last 3. VCU 4 of its last 5. Hargett, it's going to be an offensive foul. Hargett pushing off against Atkins.
Atkins all over Hargett, and all Hargett can do is push off with the offhand. Referee right there to make the call.
Donzel Rush, number 32, back into the lineup. Jesse Salters gets his first rest of the game. That is 5 team fouls on VCU. Under the 9.5-minute mark on the Sun Dome clock. And you see the turnovers. VCU, a lot more. And we have a travel on Rush. Would have been a foul, but they got Donzel moving the pivot foot.
He shuffled his feet before he got the foul in the arm.
Bobby, now it's a little warm for the sweater inside today. He always likes to wear the sweaters. I'll tell you what. And a double team in the backcourt, and I think Atkins going to pick up the foul. Atkins and Sharp were putting the double dip on Hargett, and it's going to be a personal foul on Chucky Atkins, his first.
Well, South Florida recognizing that VCU doesn't have a lot of their experienced ball handlers in the lineup, so they're trying to double whenever they can and force a turnover by VCU.
Rams trail it by 3. Hargett will take the three, comes up way short. Washington follows. Ashby tried to get it. So Gonzal Rush, the freshman for the Bulls, cleans the glass. Lamptey, the right idea, but poor execution, and then it's given right back, and look at Sharp. He got it. Well, not a whole lot of folks here in the Sun Dome today, but a boisterous crowd, and particularly the two right behind us. They're going to be hoarse by halftime. There's Mills with the follow away. And Washington follows it up and in. Here's Kareem Washington, a sophomore, who's another guy that's played well at Texas that's going to have to continue to do that for VCU.
Right. He had some trouble early in the year with tonsils. They had to remove his tonsils, and it kind of set him back for a while. But since he's come back, he's really played well for Sonny Smith.
Hargett trying to defend Atkins. Nice dish off to Allen. I think Allen was surprised and didn't get it. And Rodney Ashby has the board for VCU. That was almost too good of a pass, and Allen looked ready for it. And a blocking foul on Delancey of South Florida. I think Allen was shocked down here.
Right, he was almost too open. It was just a great no-look pass that time from Atkins. Let's talk a little bit about Rodney Ashby. He was the manager of his high school team when he was a sophomore, and just kept working. Here you see the hustle of South Florida. Sharp just recovering the loose ball, going hard down the middle. Little hang time, spin off the glass with a quick kiss. But Ashby, as I was talking about, it was a manager sophomore year. Just continued to work. Was kind of a roly-poly kid. In fact, when he was a sophomore, started to grow, thin out. Went to a community college, became a star, and moved in on to VCU. And now he's on full scholarship for the Rams.
And he also does some radio play-by-play for his old high school team in Colonial Heights, Virginia. 19-18 our score. And we'll be back after these messages from your local station. This is the Raycom Sports Network. It's your game with this regulation-sized basketball from Rollins. Just visit your nearest Pizza Hut. Purchase any pizza, and this great ball is yours for just $4.99. So take a time out at your local Pizza Hut. Pick up your new Rollins basketball, and remember that sometimes you got to stop and smell the pizza. And Kyle Macy, you were stroking it with that beautiful basketball yesterday. Much better than that guy would have done, I'm sure.
You know, it's not only a real nice-looking basketball, but it's got a good feel to it. It did go in a couple times.
You got that shooter's touch. So if you says it's good, I believe you. Believe me.
Well, the reason I missed, it wasn't because of the ball. It was probably because of me when it didn't go in.
And I tell you what, it was a lot of fun. A lot of game of horse between you and Tommy. We won't go into details right now. Here's VCU trying to take the lead, come up short from the outside. Kasurin trying to scramble for the offensive rebound, and they get him traveling. Matter of fact, that basketball is so nice, we have better keep it under our thumb because people have been trying to walk away with it.
If I know Tom Hewitt, he's got it in his bag ready to go home tonight.
Vincent Hyatt is checked in for South Florida, number 25 in the white, and this is 21, Robert Polk, and he pulls up with a three-pointer that's too strong. And Harris back into the lineup for VCU, as is Gibson and McCoy. Sonny Smith back in with his original starting lineup now.
Well, they struggled there when they made some substitutions, so he's made the decision to come back in, use the starting five, and try to get something going here for the last 6:47.
Mills was looking for Gibson, and Sharon just unconsciously threw that one out of bounds. That was one of those unforced turnovers, and Sonny Smith said, hey, this guy is a real key to the rest of our season, and sometimes he's not real motivated.
Well, in fact, that's why he went to the bench earlier this season, to try to get his attention, limit his minutes, and maybe get him to play a little bit harder the time he was in on the floor. But then, as you said, with the injury to Kendrick Warren, he's been forced back to the starting lineup. So I'm sure Sonny Smith would like nothing more than to see him extend his play for a full 40 minutes and really stay focused.
As you can see, VCU with 5 more turnovers than South Florida here in the first half. 6:36 left. Holman and Salters back in for the Bulls. Inside, outside. Salters. Now Coleman backs his way in and flips it up short. Look at Rush on the follow. I tell you, this 6'9" freshman out of Miami Carroll City High School has really improved.
You know, South Florida is really deceptive in that they're not a big squad. They, if they get one or two good players, big players next year, they could be an outstanding season, but they just work to death on the board. Really make the struggle.
Kasurin working against Salters, and it's going to be a foul.
Let's take a look at that last bucket by South Florida. Just to give you an idea of how hard they work on the glass. Coleman with a nice spin move goes up, a little soft touch. Didn't get it to go, but a rush right there, pulls it down, gathers his bounce, good soft touch.
Jesse Salters, by the way, got the foul, and Eugene Kasurin will go to the line. Kasurin, an excellent shooter from the floor, but only 50% at the line. He has a couple of points and 2 rebounds. It's one of 2 players out of the St. Petersburg Russia area for Sonny Smith. This one is perfect. They have to fix the net. 21-19. South Florida by 2. It's been rather close the entire first half. A good double team in the backcourt. And here's Coleman leading the break, and he hits it. That's what you got to do, Colin. You get it up against the press, keep pushing.
Right, you want to take it all the way to the basket if you get a good attempt like Coleman got that time.
Mills misses another easy one. The Bulls up by 4, looking for more. Atkins.
Momentum shot, just like a dunk. If you can hit that three-pointer when you're in the middle of the run, it really gets the crowd going.
3 threes in the game for freshman Chucky Atkins from Orlando Evans High School. Here's Mills. This time he didn't miss it. He scores and will get the free throw.
You know, if I'm Sonny Smith, though, I've got to be wondering, why doesn't my big man just take the ball down low and go up strong for the dunk, not just the lay-in? Here you see Harris with a nice look down low. Mills with a spin, pump fake, and goes up. But if he's that close, why not try to dunk it? Take a look at Coleman slicing down the left side. A good look over pass by Atkins, and he just pulls up for the short jumper. Nothing but net.
Mills will go to the line and caps the three-point play. Mills now with 5 points and 3 rebounds. Here's Coleman again. Rush tries to put it up and stripped away by Mills. Could have been another foul on Mills, and right to the hoop. Terrence Gibson for his first 2. And the Bull lead is down to 2. Got on the run there for just a minute.
The VCU has also made a decision, looks like here. They're going to try to run whenever they can, not slow it up at every possession.
Salters blocked by Kasurin, but they call a foul. Eugene Kasurin went over to try to get all ball, but they're going to whistle him for a personal foul.
You be the judge. This time Salters recovers the ball and goes up, kind of hangs.
Little body contact.
Maybe a little body.
Rodney Ashby back in as Kasurin goes out. Sonny Smith making that change.
Jesse Salters really doing the job on the boards. Has 7 rebounds so far today.
You can tell he's one of the best rebounders in the Metro Conference. As you look at the rebounding leaders in the Metro, Rozier, Wispy, of course, Warren done for the year.
And you look at all the size of those players, and Jesse Salters is by far the shortest. He's only 6'6", and he's right up there among the top.
But he's a real workhorse. He hits 1 out of 2 at the free throw line. He's very strong as well. He won't back down.
And a lot of it's just determination, wanting the basketball, going for every shot that goes up, thinking it's your ball, you're going to get it.
That's a big part of rebound, right? Mills lost it between his legs, finally picks it up and flips it in. Sharon had trouble grabbing it, and once he did, he was able to get the easy one. Giving 7 in the game, and the Bull lead is down to 1. Pretty much in that man-to-man with the exception of some full-court pressure.
Right, and one thing South Florida has continued to do all year as well, they're not having a good season. We talked about their record, but they haven't gone off one-on-one. Everybody's just playing for themselves. They've continued to stay within their offense and tried to work for things that will improve, make them a better team maybe next year down the road.
That time out of the offense, Donzel Rush gets his second field goal. And VCU down by 3. McCoy pulls up and hits it. Tyrone McCoy, 7th in the Metro in steals and field goal percentage. Has 9 in this game, as we mentioned. 27 points and 10 rebounds in that win for Sonny Smith and the Rams at Texas earlier this week.
It was a big shot for Tyrone. He'd been kind of quiet. Needed to get back in the groove.
Not a lot of continuity on that play, so it's a turnover. The Bulls a 1-point lead. More from the Sun Dome after this. Really matters is the Metro Conference basketball tournaments. First, the women begin on March 10th. First and second rounds in the Commonwealth Convention Center, and then the finals at Freedom Hall on the first night. Then the men's tournament, the 12th through the 14th, in beautiful Freedom Hall in Louisville. You can call the U of L ticket office at those numbers, an 800 number as well. And well, I tell you what, make it to the Metro Conference tournament, the Festival of Stars, and you want to see great basketball and have a good time. You can do that in the Derby City. A 1-point game, but almost changed by VCU, and are they going to count it though? Ashby got the follow. Let's see if they count the basket. Nope, they're going to give him the 1-and-1.
I think maybe Atkins was called for the push there on the long rebound before he got it put it back in. Shooting so far for the game, University of South Florida is only shooting 36% from the floor, but they're 4 for 6 from three-point range, led by Chucky Atkins, who's 3 for 3. So that's kind of made the difference. VCU shooting a 48% clip right now.
Coleman has only 2 points in the game. You see him over on the Bull bench. Here's Ronnie Ashby, junior out of Colonial Heights, Virginia. Just a real pleasant young man. He always comes up to speak to you, regardless whether he's in Richmond or on the road. And a real nice story in college basketball, particularly for VCU.
It really is, going from a manager, a kind of a roly-poly kid, they said, to just thinning out and working on his game, getting better and better. He's experienced more probably than a lot of players who've always been real good basketball players, seen some different sides of the game.
Mills goes out. Kareem Washington back in for VCU with 3 minutes remaining in the half. And we're all knotted up at 29. South Florida looking for its second league win. VCU trying to go above the 500 mark. They're 4-4 right now. And I guarantee you, these are teams that, when it comes to tournament time, you don't want to play them. Here's Salters. Nice kiss off the glass. Jesse Salters.
Boy, that's right about not wanting to play either one of these teams, because they both play so hard and really stay within their offense and don't try to do things they're not capable of doing. They can make it difficult in a good team.
Of course, honestly, I think for VCU, if they could roll out some wins here, having played most of them on the road, they could get near that 20-win mark. You have to consider them for an NCAA bid because they played good competition. They're at 14-7 right now.
Right, they've got 4 games after today's game, 3 of them on the road, which will make it tough. But if they can, like you say, pull out some wins, who knows, maybe an at-large.
Their next game is against in-state rival Virginia Tech on Monday in Richmond.
You can throw all records out the window for that game when those two teams get together.
Shot clock down to 4. Gonna have to shoot it. Brower doesn't get it off in time, and the 45-second shot clock expires. And that should never happen with 45 seconds.
Just a bad recognition on the part of VCU, not knowing where they were with the shot clock. You got to be able to get a shot off. And then now on the other end, not hustling back to the defensive end, allowing an easy layup.
Donzel Rush. Nobody got back for the Rams. And that doesn't make Sonny Smith happy at all. He had a breakdown offensively and then a mental mistake defensively.
Well, the coaches can handle the physical mistakes a lot easier than they can the mental mistakes. If they're out there giving the effort to mess up, that's one thing. But when they're not concentrating, that's another.
McCoy misses the 3. Harris. Nice dish off to Ashby. Blocked from behind by Rush. And here come the Bulls, leading by 4. Sharp tries to wrap around and has it stripped, but gets it back. It's tipped in, but it's not going to count. They said that Vincent Hyatt hit it when it was on the cylinder. So they're going to wave it off. Let's see. That was really close.
Real close. Sharp with a little razzle-dazzle and lost it, but came back with it. Got it up off the glass, and Vincent Hyatt tries to hang on, but I think he may have touched it still in the cylinder.
Different angle, same play. It's tough. Part of the ball might have still been on the cylinder. Here's Brower. He doesn't shoot many 2s. He does this time, and Kareem Washington was trying to follow up his miss and gets the foul. So with less than a minute to go in the half, the Bulls have a 4-point lead for Bobby Paschal, and now we'll go to the free throw line.
You know, Vincent Hyatt is another player that's come in here lately and got some more minutes and has been playing very well. He made a mistake there with the tip in, but on the other end did a good job blocking out and drew the foul. So he's making things happen. That's positive.
Vincent Hyatt, here's a guy that's played 48 minutes in the last 5 games, a 6'6 junior out of Edison Community College. He's perfect at the free throw line this year and stays that way. That's Edison Community College. And around the Fort Myers area, south of here. Well, this kind of day, you like to take this dome off this building and play in the sunlight. It is beautiful. It has been all day. Of course, the sunlight still comes through the top of the dome. A 6-point lead. That equals the largest held by South Florida in this one as we wind it down in the first half. Robert Pope with the pressure.
VCU content now just to work the clock down, try to get one shot.
There's about a 5-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. You're looking at the game clock. Actually 4 seconds difference.
He's got the count on now.
The shot clock now is down to 5. Harris pulls up. No. Salters with the rebound. Tries to get it up. Sharp puts it up. It goes.
And one. Great drive.
It will, and a foul on Brower.
But just a great individual effort by Derek Sharp. This time little fake look-away pass, and Brower didn't get set, and somehow Sharp still got it to go up off the glass and in. Got it all the way down the floor. Good outlet pass by Salters, and look at him run on the break. But Sharp's got other ideas. Little look away. You see Brower moving. Great individual play.
So a big turn of events. Derek Sharp now will go to the free throw line looking for his 8th point and has it.
And look here, another basket.
A steal by Salters.
Jesse Salters.
So VCU coming loose at the seams, and the Sundome Crazies like the late bull push in the first half. 40-29 our score in this Metro Conference game here in the beautiful Sundome in Tampa, Florida. Buick by Pizza Hut and by CarQuest. It's halftime at the Sundome in Tampa, Florida, in our game between South Florida and VCU. And we'll be back with our halftime show right after these messages from your local station. Welcome back to the Sundome. We're at halftime, 40-29. South Florida over VCU, and the Crazies had a lot to get excited about, particularly late in the first half. And now let's take a look at today's Gillette halftime statistics, Kyle.
Well, you see neither team shooting exceptionally well from the field, although South Florida has connected on about 42% of their, or 66%, excuse me, of their three-point shots, which has made up for the difference. Both teams shooting pretty well from the free throw line, and rebounds about even. A big key there also is the turnovers. South Florida doing a better job of taking care of the ball.
If you look at the scoring leaders, McCoy and Salters, you see Atkins. Mills, though, and Washington, not much there from anybody else.
And McCoy was a little quiet. He got it some early, but then didn't score. Now the rebound leaders, Ashby, coming in with 4 boards, Mills 3 and Harris 3. Jesse Salters already in double figures in rebounds.
And that's today's halftime statistics brought to you by Gillette. And the beautiful Sundome facility here on the campus of South Florida. Bobby Paschal has done a terrific job of just keeping his team's mental state of mind very sharp all year long, despite the fact that he's had the young team and really struggled, and he's been ready to play every time we've seen him play. And I think Sonny Smith's team, Sonny probably got their attention at halftime. He said, just because you wanted Texas doesn't mean you can come in against this South Florida team and just go through the motions. It will not work.
Right, and to Bobby Paschal's credit, being an experienced coach, he knew the last place he was going to see the results was in the win column. Now, lately, they've started getting those wins, and I'm sure it's made everybody in the team feel a whole lot better.
Well, VCU will have the first possession of the second half. And Sharon Mills will try to get him off to a good start. Missed it, and Coleman has the rebound, and here come the Bulls on the run. Good ball movement over to Sharp, who banks it in. Here's a guy now we saw last week, Kyle. As I mentioned, as he hits double digits with 10, he is really beginning to pick it up.
He really is, and I think a lot of it has to do because his teammates are now understanding where he likes the ball and where he likes to shoot from and what position.
For Sharp, the only returner from last year's team at all. With all the seniors that Bobby Pascal had on his NCAA team, 4 teams out of the Metro going. South Florida was one of them. Here's Harris. He lost possession of it. Atkins had the good D. Mills had it stripped and stolen by Sharp. Salters, boy, you can't let him shoot that shot, and he banks it in. Right in the center of that square.
What can I say? Bang from out front.
Well, Sonny Smith didn't take long to take the timeout because his team has been outscored 4-0. And we'll be back to the Sun Dome in just a moment. Gannon standing by to bring you Southern Mississippi and UNC Charlotte coming up next on Raycom. Of course, UNC Charlotte improving, and then the big one next week, Tulane and Louisville from Freedom Hall at noon on Raycom. That could well decide the regular season Metro title, but our second game today, of course, UNC Charlotte playing great under Jeff Mullins, and the Glenn Wispy always fun to watch play in the Metro.
Hey, Don, I'm off next week, and you think you give me tickets to that Louisville game?
Yeah, possibly. No parking pass, though. Here's Kasurin. He can shoot the 3, but this one he comes up short on. So VCU, as they had a bad end of the first half, have not picked it up much in the beginning of the second minutes. Here it's 15-0. The run goes back to the first half. So it's been a long, dry spell for VCU offensively. Here's Rush over Mills and Kenny Harris, who has yet to score in the game. McCoy, he hasn't had quite the shooting touch today. And here's Terrence Gibson to the baseline, flips it up. And VCU just really out of sync offensively. Coleman almost threw it away. They got it right back.
Like a yo-yo, came right back to him.
Here's Salters, and he has the soft touch. Jesse Salters has 4 of the 6 in the second half for South Florida.
Things are really going South Florida's way right now. Even when they make a bad pass, it comes right back to him.
Well, Kenny Harris is a guy that we mentioned coming into the telecast. Not only needs to run to show, but get some points. He's been held scoreless. He has the ball now, and he'll try to change that, and doesn't.
Give Atkins credit on the defense that time. Hand up in his face.
Good play by Harris defensively to pick it up. And now McCoy leads it for VCU, and we're going to have a blocking foul against Rush. There was an opportunity where he had a player on the right side where McCoy most likely would have been better advised to give that one up.
Especially when the player on the other side was his point guard. You got to give the ball to your point guard. You've got Kenny Harris in the middle of the floor there. You got to give it up right away. And then run the floor. You may get it back for another layup instead trying to force it down low. Luckily, you got the call.
Of course, that's the tendency when you have a player like McCoy who has to step forward after the loss of Kendrick Horn to try to do too much at one time.
Well, I think, though, he should know that Kenny Harris is not going to be a ball hog himself, and he'll look for him to get it back.
It took 2 minutes and 45 seconds for the Rams to get on the board in the second half. Thus, they're down by 16. And McCoy hits a pair. And now VCU is going to apply some pressure, but the Bulls break it easily. And Coleman almost gave it up. They're going to call foul. Boy, Coleman was close to traveling with that. He just barely got rid of it before he came back down.
He went up in the air to pass and really had no one to pass to. Just hung on to it just long enough to draw the foul before he got rid of it.
So the VCU foul gives it back to South Florida on the possession. Atkins covered up by Gibson. Here's Coleman down low, and he has it blocked. But Gibson, who thought he had all ball, will get the foul.
And now you see what's happening with South Florida extending their offense out, pulling the VCU defense. It's opening up some slots down the middle, that time allowing Coleman to get a shot at the basket before he was fouled.
So that'll send Chris Coleman to the line out of Stevenson High School in Prairie View, Illinois, in the Chicago area. This guy bench presses 300 pounds. You see his statistics on the year. He and Donzel Rush both, however, are the top freshman rebounders in the Metro Conference. That's pretty good for both of those guys. Matter of fact, South Florida could easily have 3 players on the all-freshman team, Coleman, Rush, and Atkins. And Coleman missed them both.
Well, one part of his game he does need to work on is his free throw shooting. Only about a 53% free throw shooter. He's got his hand wrapped. I don't know if it's an injury problem or just a superstition where he always tapes his right wrist.
This is McCoy for the 3, and that's a big hoop for VCU. McCoy with 14, and they needed that.
Yeah, Tyrone really needs to catch fire to get VCU back in this game.
The Rams coming in a little bit flat, but give South Florida some credit as well. Near steal, but here's Atkins going to settle down the troops. Oh, this guy plays a lot of minutes, Chucky Atkins, and he's put a lot of pressure on a freshman handling the show like he's done.
He sure doesn't play like a freshman, though, does he? That time really taking the ball out and setting it up, recognizing they were kind of out of sync.
And now you can see, Kyle, what you just mentioned a moment ago. South Florida, with the lead, has the opportunity to be patient, try to work it inside, and if worse comes to worse, at least get the foul.
Right, they'll get a lot better balance now inside than kicking it out maybe for an open jumper, or also when the defense extends, maybe penetrating through and either getting a layup or dropping it off to a teammate for a layup.
So Gibson gets the foul, and now we'll go to the bench. Chris Brower back in, the three-point shooter, and this time Coleman, who missed twice a moment ago. This guy in the last 10 games has averaged 11.2 points, 6.5 rebounds, and almost 3 assists a game. There's only 1 out of 4 at the line. It tipped out of bounds by South Florida, so VCU, now they point in the other direction. I think Danny Hooker just forgot which way the teams were going here in the second half.
Jesse Salters again on the offensive glass, just worked a little bit harder and got a deflection, went off the VCU player.
Comes into Derek Sharp. Inside Rush, good strong move, and Donzel Rush, especially, Kyle, as he begins to get some physical strength, he's going to be tough in this league.
Well, that really was a strong move. Just kind of took Mills right onto the hole, right on his back.
The lead back to 15 points. McCoy, another 3. He didn't follow his shot, and Coleman gets the rebound. Atkins, his own 3. Yes, Chucky Atkins has hit 4 3-pointers in as many efforts.
All these South Florida Bulls, all the freshmen, you can just see them with each game getting more and more confidence, feeling more and more at ease out there on the floor. They're going to be a great team down the road.
There's a steal by Salters, and he'll take it for the game. Now they're going nuts in the Sun Dome. It's a 20-point game. A big surprise. Kasurin over Salters, rolls it out of there, but he draws the foul on Jesse. This has always been a deafening place. It's less than half full today, but if these fans don't come out and support this young team, they're missing the boat, because they're going to have a lot of exciting moments in the years to come.
They really are. A lot of good players, exciting players, and they all seem to get along exceptionally well, which is important.
Here's another one of those freshmen. Sean Allen will check in. Jesse Salters, who has 3 personal fouls, now will leave, but the crowd shows their appreciation. Kasurin at the line, just barely got a piece of the iron.
There you take a look. Jesse Salters, good anticipation for the steal, and just rocks it back behind his head and slams it home.
And Kasurin makes 1 out of 2. Rodney Ashby back in for VCU, number 45. Kasurin will go out. The Sonny Smith's team with less than 15 minutes to go, a long uphill battle. And Coleman helps out against the press. Now it's 2-on-1. And it goes right through the hands of Donzel Rush.
Should have thrown the bounce pass that time. Arm high pass, got a deflection, went off Rush's hand.
Saw a lot of nice bounce passes in your day. Of course, You could shoot it, too, though. I'm not going to say you didn't pass it very much.
Nice,
but you did like to shoot it. And do it very well, I might add. Here's another breakout. Coleman, I think they're going to get him on steps, or a double dribble, actually. Bobby Paschal arguing with Larry Ware, but Paschal will not win that argument. I tell you, that guy has just been terrific with this team. Every time I've gone to their shoot-arounds and their practice, like I say, you walk in and there's no way that you would think that the team was struggling with wins. You see VCU 12-8 in terms of turnovers. Here's Hargett with a long three, and that's an air ball. Sonny Smith, this is one of those games, Kyle, where you just struggle and look for the answers, but you can't go out and play for them.
Well, Sonny's tried to throw in different combinations, but just can't find the right group put out there on the floor.
Here's Atkins working against Hargett.
And, you know, it all started the last 3 seconds of the first half, too. It was a pretty close ball game, and the next thing you know, you're down 11, and then they come out the start of the second half and continue that run, and it's a 20-point ball game.
That's exactly what happened. A couple of breakouts, and it was, if you remember, that VCU was trying to run it down for the final shot and gave up 4 points in the last 3 seconds. Atkins off the run. Oh, my goodness, Chucky Atkins. This guy was a high school quarterback. And well, he's picked up the game of basketball quite well. Sherrod Mills counters for VCU. His first 2 in this half.
If Atkins can continue to shoot, improve on his shooting, he's really going to be unstoppable. He's got great quickness, really goes to the basket hard, good passer. You add that the shooting touch, he'll be hard to stop.
Sharp saved it in, but VCU picks up the loose ball. And Brower thought about 3, but gets it nicely inside to Mills for the easy 2. Mills with 2 straight baskets for the Rams. So VCU trying to make the comeback. Atkins another 3.
He feels it.
He has got the feeling. 17 points for Chucky Atkins.
Nothing more enjoyable on the basketball floor as a player is when you're in that groove, you're kind of in the zone, everything you go up goes in.
McCoy off balance, missed it, and Mills is going to get a rebound foul. 5 3-pointers in the game for Chucky Atkins. The Metro Conference record is 8 in a game. Kareem Washington back in. James Boo Brewer had 8, and so did Bernard Haslett of Southern Mississippi. Atkins 6 out of 6 from the floor, 5 of 5 in 3-point shooting. Knocked away from Sharp by Brower. But VCU gives it right back. It's 3-on-1. Sharp. Coleman. And he's fouled by Washington. Well, we saw this all start to unfold a week ago in this South Florida win against Virginia Tech. Then they beat Stetson. You had this feeling, didn't you? You like to get
Not
the ball.
Not enough.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, there's nothing more fun, but Chucky just pulls up, everything right in line to the basket, and nothing but net.
It's got to be a good feeling when you get it like that.
You were right, Don, though. We really started to all come together last week on the game, and Bobby Paschal said they had never put 2 halves together back-to-back, and they did that week, and now it looks like they are again this week.
Well, Atkins gets a well-deserved rest and an ovation from the Sun Dome crowd. Atkins came into this game leading all Metro freshmen in starts, assists, 3-pointers. He's added to that, obviously, and minutes played.
They want that freshman of the year in the Metro Conference Award.
Tell you what, he's giving Andre Davis a run for his money. Coleman goes out. You're looking at Vincent Hyatt. And Bobby Paschal's team has not left anything out on the court, that's for sure, and he gives them a rest. 61-39, that's the time left in this one. And Hargett on the offensive foul. One of those games where Sonny Smith is just walking up and down, and there's not a whole lot he can do right now.
Well, he's tried just about everything, but nothing's worked. Like you say, he's getting a little frustrated, nothing else to try.
And you would think they came in here off the momentum of the Texas game, which is never easy to beat Texas and Tommy Bender's club, especially when you're playing in Longhorn country. And they did that, holding Texas to about 30% shooting for the game, but it's been a different story today. Sharp open, drills it. They're just getting all types of continuity out of the offense.
They're really being very patient in the offensive end, not taking the first available, but getting a better shot. At that time, Sharp got to go down.
Sharon Mills decided he had enough of it and decided to take it to the basket. And he's fouled by his opposite, number 40, Sean Allen. Here's Kenny Harris back into the VCU lineup. 11 minutes and 40 seconds. I'm Don Russell along with Kyle Macy, producer Tom Ewan, and director Toby Jenkins on Raycom.
You see Mills going hard to the basket, just kind of put his head down, decided way out on top of the key he was going to take it all the way, and drew the foul.
A little bit of tunnel vision there, would you say? This guy had 13 points and 9 rebounds, a couple of block shots against Texas. This guy thought many would be among the Metro's best. He misses 2 free throws. Florida, however, gives it right back on an unforced turnover. 11:32 left in this one. It's all South Florida, 63-39. Raycom crew standing by down in Charlotte, North Carolina. Southern Miss and UNC Charlotte coming up next on Raycom, and then a big one in the Metro at noon. A noon showdown in Freedom Hall. Tulane and Louisville, the top 2 teams in the Metro. And the guy that's been the top gun in this one has been Derek Sharp.
We talked about Derek getting his feet set, squaring up the basket as he did that time, and got it to go down. Still no parking pass, huh?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
You know, we'd like to correct something. The Metro Conference record in the record book was 8 3-pointers in a game, but now it has been surpassed this year. Bernard Haslett of Southern Miss had 10 against Memphis State. It's a non-conference game, but it still goes down in the Metro Conference book, and producer Tom Hewitt counted every one of them in that game. Look at that field goal percentage for South Florida. And a reaching foul outside against VCU. Kareem Washington gets it. That's 3 on Washington. Of course, this is when you really miss a Kendrick Warren, because one thing you know about Warren, he can score you points about whenever you want him, and he can do exciting things that ignites his team.
Right, he can get hot real fast, and as you said, it kind of carries over. He gets a little spark in his eye, and the next guy picks up on it, and before you know it, all 5 are playing good basketball.
Of course, Sonny Smith knows he's going to have to deal without having Kendrick Warren inside the rest of the way. You see Hyatt's been perfect at the line, as he has been all season long. This one had a lot of paint on it, but it rolls in. It's been all South Florida since the waning moments of the first half, and the Bulls have continued to put it on. Here's Hargett with the 3. He rimmed this one. Ashby, the follow-up. Too strong. VCU really crashing the boards. They have to do that, and it's going to be a rebound foul against the Rams. And it's going to be on Kareem Washington. He has 2 quick fouls, and now he has 4 in the game. And Sonny Smith will bring McCoy and Mills back to the table and into the game.
Kind of a revolving door over there at the scorer's bench. Just trying to find the right combination to at least cut into this lead a little bit.
Ashby will come out along with Washington.
Sometimes you can get back in the game by committing a lot of fouls, and if the home team doesn't make the free throws. But when you got Vincent Hyatt at the line, who hasn't missed this season, well, I jinxed him.
Shame on you.
That's not to their advantage.
He'll call you up. Here's Harris. Still hasn't scored in the game. This is the 3. And now some discussion which direction it will go, and it will belong to VCU. Kenny Harris, averaging almost 10 points a game, has not scored for Sonny Smith today. Bobby Pascal's had a lot of good balance scoring. Here's Mills. Short on the bank. Tipped in, though, by Kasurin. Eugene Kasurin has 6.
Kasurin didn't think he could get the ball in, so he just kind of kept it alive, but it still went in the hole.
Good movement. Sharp takes it to the basket and lays it in, and they broke the press with perfection.
Right, they not only got past the half-court line, but then took it all the way to the hole, didn't pull it out and try to use some of the clock. You got a wide-open layup. You got to take it.
Eric Sharp has the defensive assignment on Harris right now. 67-41. South Florida. Hargett. Been in a shooting slump and stays in one.
He's going to keep shooting until he gets one.
I guess so. Robert Pope brings it up now against the double team. Sharp trying to get it in to Allen, and it was tipped away by the Rams. Here's Harris's 3, and that's his first points in the game for Kenny Harris. It comes at the 9:43 mark. And as we talked about it, Kyle, he's a guy that not only has to run the club now, but pick up the pace scoring.
Right. And sometimes if you're a point guard, you can get too involved in being the point guard, not looking for your own shot. And I think that's what's happened to Kenny today.
Here's Kenny. 2 straight threes now.
He needs to try to do that, only he should have been trying to do a little bit earlier in the game. Better late than never if you're Sonny Smith.
And brings it back within 20. And Robert Polk against the pressure. And we have a whistle and a timeout, I think, by South Florida. 9:10 left. 67-47. We'll be back after this message. A Schick game tracer in this one.
Well, the real key to the ball club was just the last 2, almost 3 seconds of the first half when USF went on a run. They went from up 6 to up 11 at the end of the first half and carried it over to a 6-0 run to start the second half. And three-point shooting, USF just filling it up, 6 for 9 from behind the line.
And that's our Schick game tracer here in the Sun Dome. Chucky Atkins, of course, lighting it up. This is the young freshman with the ball right now. He has 17 points. If you're wondering, his career high, which obviously would have been this year, is 19. So at 8:55, there's a good bet he has an opportunity to surpass that. I just like his composure on the floor.
He never shows too much emotion, doesn't let things upset him. At least he doesn't show it outwardly. Just accepts all challenges and continues to play.
Here's Coleman. That little running jumper comes up short. Kept alive by the Bulls momentarily, but they tip it out of bounds. Don't forget, coming up next on Raycom, we have Southern Mississippi, Glenn Wispy and company against UNC Charlotte, and another great freshman, Andre Davis, playing well. That's coming up next on Raycom. Harris made 2 threes, but he misses this one.
Jesse Salters was all over that glass to get that board.
Oh, he was. Hey, this guy plays so hard. His perspiration makes his jersey look a totally different color than the rest of the South Florida players. Atkins trying to save it, and does. And now the numbers for South Florida, and Salters missed it.
Like he almost tried to bank that one again.
Yeah, he likes to bank them straight away. We've seen a lot of them this year. Look at Harris, though. Take it to the basket. Kenny Harris with 8 quick points. And VCU trying to make the run here with less than 8 minutes to go, but Coleman comes right back for the Bulls.
Good execution by South Florida, but VCU needs to do a better job getting back in the transition on defense.
This time Atkins was bumping Harris as Kenny was taking it to the basket. And on Chucky Atkins, he picks up the personal foul. That's 3 on the freshman. You know, another thing about Atkins as well, Kyle, and he's averaged just 3 turnovers a game, despite the fact he's playing about 32 minutes a contest.
So I think that's probably one of the most impressive stats he has, because he does control the ball so much for the Bulls, but doesn't turn it over too often.
Mills gets the easy 2 for the Rams, 13 for Sharon. And it's tipped away and out of bounds and belongs to VCU. David Delancey touched it last. McCoy.
You know, VCU is right kind of in the middle of a run right now, and Kenny Harris has kind of exploded. But you might look for Sonny Smith to, if they can score a few more baskets quick, to take a timeout. Now you think, why take a timeout? It may stop your momentum, but when you look at Kenny Harris, he's really starting to breathe hard, may need a break just to catch his breath.
Chris Brower gets the 3-pointer, and Harris gets the steal, and he'll try a 3 and hit it. Kenny Harris. And VCU defensively, and I think Bobby Pascal has seen enough. It's still a comfortable lead, but not nearly as much. 7:04 left. The Bull advantage is 12. Cheese and mozzarella. Boy, it's nice.
Well, Jesse Salters stealing a great pizza slice there with a low price and going up and delivering with a two-handed slam back over the head.
And that's our Pizza Hut delivery of the game. Matter of fact, earlier, Pizza Hut delivery man was delivering some pizza in the stands. They should have given it to Jesse Salters. He deserves it. Along with Chucky Atkins, they could have split it. This is Atkins with it. Over Derek Sharp. A 12-point game. Bobby Paschal wanted to make sure his club keeps things in control, and VCU is on a 10-2 run in the last 2 minutes.
But now South Florida needs someone to step up and kind of lead the way here, because they're kind of all of a sudden going through a feeling out process, not really looking to score and take a good shot, but looking for someone else maybe to take the shot. But just continue to play your offense.
They've run the shot clock down to 10. Coleman, he's open, and he missed it. But another 45 for South Florida. And they'll probably use some of it.
Quite a bit of it, I imagine.
Sharp, Brower checking him. Takes a slap at the ball and knocks it loose, but Derek gets it back. 6 minutes, that's the game clock that you see. South Florida leads it by 12. Once again, the shot clock winding down to 10, so 2 straight possessions. And South Florida at least has used a lot of time. Here's Derek Sharp. Nice
Great
inside
pass.
the Salters. Wow.
Everyone knows Sharp's an outstanding three-point shooter, so they all ran out and left Jesse Salters wide open for the layup. Good read.
It sure was. Give Sharp credit for a terrific assist. Here's Harris going up, and Salters gets the rebound. And Coleman comes out of there with it, and Harris gets the foul.
But watch this read by Derek Sharp. Goes up for the three-pointer. Good peripheral vision to see Jesse Salters for the wide-open layup.
Well, Jesse Salters, you know, and Kyle, we should keep in mind as you see Sharon Mills back into the lineup. I think sometimes we lose sight of the fact that Salters is only a sophomore. We've talked about a lot of freshmen, but this guy's only in his second year of collegiate play. His first for Bobby Paschal.
Right. He transferred over from Florida State, had a little knee problem, and he's really come on like gangbusters.
Coleman trying to add to the South Florida total and missed it. Chris has not had a good game at the free throw line. And here's Harris running it all the way, takes it coast to flip it in. 13 second half points for Kenny Harris, and it is down to a 71-59 game. And Brower gets the foul in the backcourt. I think it's pretty obvious if you're going to foul somebody, you probably should foul Chris Coleman when he gets the ball in his hands.
Yeah, he's by far the worst free throw percentage shooter on the 5 players out on the floor.
See Chucky Atkins over talking to Bobby Paschal. There's Coach Paschal's team played number 8 Cincinnati. Real tough first half the other night, and then Cincinnati's quickness and depth finally broke them down.
Cincinnati's an outstanding team.
That's a lot of people.
Right.
And Derek Sharp, an 82% free throw shooter. Not very often that the senior from Orlando Evans High School will miss it. And you see he's had a good game, point-wise and rebounding-wise. He's perfect on his second effort. A 13-point lead with 5 minutes left in this Metro Conference matchup on Raycom here in the Sun Dome in Tampa, Florida. Here's Harris, and boy, he's got the offensive feeling now, Kyle. He hits a 3, giving 16. We talked about it. Hey, it was about 4 minutes ago. He didn't have a point.
My question is, where was he the rest of the game?
Johnny Smith would probably ask the same one.
Because he has definitely turned it on here the last few minutes.
That three-pointer brings it to a 10-point game. And another VCU foul. It's going to be on Kenny Harris. That is his 3rd personal. That's the strategy you can see in South Florida when they get the ball. If VCU doesn't get the steal, to foul.
Good strategy, except they've been fouling the best free throw shooter, Derek Sharp.
That need to be a little bit more selective.
Although South Florida, on the other hand, is doing a good job not giving the ball to Coleman so he can get fouled, too. They're keeping it in the good shooter's hands.
Sharp can push it back to 12 and does. 17 points for Derek Sharp. 17 for Atkins, 17 for Salters. That's great bounce. Harris, unbelievable.
That's great one-on-one play there. All VCU is setting a high pick with Mills and just letting Harris rub off, either penetrate the hole or pull up to the three.
It's been a long time that it's been under double digits in terms of the deficit for VCU, and now it's a three-possession game, so to speak. 74 to 65. Still plenty of time, and that's off Derek Sharp, so VCU will get the ball. Of course, they got Chris Brower on the floor who can nail the three. Kenny Harris has really cranked it up with 19. Mills, way short. McCoy, though, gets the follow, takes it to the basket. He missed an easy one. Mills tries and banks it in. A lot of opportunities for the Rams on that trip.
The crowd's a little bit stunned here, not making much noise.
There was a 20-point lead not too long ago for South Florida. Now it is down to 7, and VCU with the ball. McCoy, the three. Yes! Tyrone McCoy.
Unbelievable.
Can you believe this? They made up 16 points in the deficit in the second half, and then Harris gets the foul against Sharp. They're still fouling the wrong guy, and Kyle, it's too much times left now, 3:29. VCU can change their strategy. They don't have to foul anymore.
That's exactly right, but also now Harris, just picked up his fourth foul, so he really didn't want to make that foul to stop the clock that time.
And he is winded. He has played so hard. He has scored 19 points in about a 6-minute stretch, but Sonny Smith has to stick with him.
And he's been all their offense the last few minutes. You'd like to get him a little breather, but it's too late now.
And Sharp misses the first of two. I'm not sure I've seen anybody score that many points in this stretch of minutes played. Because remember, we talked about it. I think it was about 9 minutes when he got his first point. It's down to 3:29, and he has 19 now. He's the leading scorer in the game.
Just a little handicap for some of the other players.
Derek Sharp trying to catch him for scoring honors. He has 18. South Florida by 5. But VCU presenting the challenge now. Brower, here's his three. And Coleman has the rebound. 75-70.
I don't know. I guess I'm from the old school. I know Brower's an outstanding three-point shooter, but Harris has been on fire. I say you go to him until he misses.
That would be the percentages, and now we have a McCoy foul outside. The double team Harris and McCoy on Atkins, and number 22 in the black gets his first. And McCoy has those 4 fouls, so he and Harris have 4. Kareem Washington with 4. And Sonny Smith, though, has no choice with 2:58 left, and the freshman Atkins to the line.
Well, you go back to the end of the first half, that 5-point swing right at the end of the half.
You joined us late. It was a 26-point South Florida lead in the second half. 1 out of 2 for Atkins, and it's a 6-point game. So VCU, a heck of a comeback from that 26-point deficit, but will it be too little too late? We'll have to wait and see. Mills, yes, off the baseline. 17 now for Sharon Mills. And now a 3-on-1 break, and Donzel Rush, count it. Mills got a piece of it. It went in anyway, but give it to Donzel Rush, and he becomes the 4th Bull to hit double digits. He has 10.
And the Bulls have been doing that all year. Not one player has really stood out as far as a big scoring average, but 4 or 5 guys have been scoring at double digits when they're playing their best basketball.
Now that graphic tells the whole story.
They need some stops right now, though.
There's Mills. He's left open, and he banks it in. 19 now for Mills.
Not only did they not get a stop, but it was a quick basket. You want to at least make VCU take some time off the clock.
And now VCU, yep, they're looking to trap whenever possible. South Florida, 74 VCU. Shot clock. You see the game clock. The shot clock is at 18.
Problem when Coleman gets the ball, if you want to foul him, McCoy's got 4. He can't foul him. Harris has 4. He can't foul him. They'll be out of the game.
Right now it's a 2-possession game. Here's Atkins pulling up with the 3. Missed it badly. And Harris has the rebound. So here come the Rams. Kenny Harris whips it down to Mills. He got it, and he draws the foul. Sharon Mills with 21 points, and he'll have a chance to pull the Rams within a single point.
But watch this pass. Oh, just right past the defense. Mills goes up strong, draws the foul across the wrist, and gets the ball still to go in.
Jesse Salters gets the foul. Bobby Pascal's team has let a 26-point lead slip away as Mills makes it a 1-point game. Unbelievable. It looked like that VCU was all but gone. Here's Atkins. He was fouled really twice, and now Kenny Harris is going to foul out. They cannot afford to lose Kenny Harris, but
you can see Kenny Harris is really upset. There was a foul a little bit earlier on the floor that they let go, and Kenny was just kind of going alongside. Here, take a look as Atkins dribbles up the right.
Yep,
Kazurin grabs him, but there was no call, but they call Harris here on the side. Which that's not much of a foul there.
Well, you know, Kenny Harris is still in the game, so evidently he is not fouled out. We had him with 4, but Harris is still in there, so obviously, now the beautiful Sun Dome, I love this facility, but they don't have a foul board, and it drives you crazy. So Harris evidently has 4 now. So he stays in the game, but Kazurin obviously fouled Atkins much earlier, regardless. A new career high for Chucky Atkins, 20 points. South Florida by 3, and they're on their feet. And Sonny Smith wants to talk it over. Exactly 1 minute left in this one. VCU with a heck of a comeback. Can the Bulls hang on? We'll find out. The next one will in Charlotte, North Carolina. UNC Charlotte and Southern Miss standing by on Raycom. That's our game coming up next. And then the big one that everyone will be looking at, the shootout in Freedom Hall at high noon. Next Saturday, the Green Wave and the Cardinals both 8-1 in the Metro. Of course, we mentioned earlier, Louisville has to play UNC Charlotte at home on Thursday night. Well, the Bull has been... has really had some steam coming out of them early. 26-point lead, but VCU give them a lot of credit. They never said die.
There you see the field goal shooting percentages. South Florida shooting 62% here in the second half.
Brower appeared to have lose the ball off his foot. Now they're talking about it. Larry Ware and John Constable, I believe, disagreed on it. Let's see what that's going to go to South Florida. Sonny Smith is not happy at all about that. Actually, Larry Ware was not quite as close to the play as John was. But Sonny shakes it off and has to get on D. Comes into Atkins, and he is fouled by Gibson. So now it's going to be, if South Florida can cap the free throws, and that's going to be it for Terrence Gibson. He evidently picked up one of those fouls earlier, or they got him with 4 now. Might have been where we had our difference earlier. But Chucky Atkins has a new career high. The freshman has been outstanding. And these are as important as those 3-pointers he hit earlier. Chucky Atkins, shooting 2. This guy has 5 3-pointers. And a nice shooting touch at the free throw line today, despite the fact he's only about 60% on the year.
Right, now it becomes a 2-possession ball game for VCU. As long as South Florida doesn't foul on the 3-point attempt.
Just under 50 seconds remaining, and Atkins calmly sinks them both. 82-77. Now VCU will look for the three. Harris will launch and hit. Kenny Harris has been unconscious in the second half. And now they foul Derek Sharp with 35 seconds to go. Well, one of the things you talked about in our four keys to the game was defending the three, and you were talking about South Florida defending the three against VCU.
And they did a good job in the first half. VCU only 1 for 9 from the three-point line in the first half, but things sure have changed the second half. Kenny Harris by himself.
22 second-half points for Kenny Harris. And Derek Sharp will stand up. You can tell he's had some success at the free throw line and continues so.
This is the big one.
They can keep it under the 4 digits. It's extremely important. It's 3 right now, but it's 4. 2 possessions for VCU. You got to have 2 possessions. Harris thought about the 3, and now he's going to take it. And it's not there. McCoy with the follow-up. It's not good. And Bucky Atkins with the rebound. And they foul Atkins. McCoy chases him down. Now, Sonny Smith's team had 2 possessions. They needed it. They might have been better advised to go for 2 there.
Yeah, I think they probably would have caught the Bulls off guard if they'd have faked the 3 and then gone on in for a quick 2 and then try to stop the clock again. But they opted for a 3-point. Just a difference in philosophy.
And now Brower is going to take a timeout before Atkins goes to the line. 17 and 7/10 seconds left. The Bulls lead it by 4. Don't go away. And we're down to the final 17 and 7/10 seconds, Kyle Macy. And if Atkins can put these down, it's going to be real tough for VCU.
But I'm not going to say it's over because it sure looked like it was over when VCU was down 26. Got it all the way down to a 1-point ball game.
And Atkins rolled it off. Well, Chucky has 22 points in the game, but he keeps things alive for VCU. And Atkins hits the second. Chucky Atkins, a great game, 23 points. Here comes Harris with it. And Harris takes it all the way, puts it up and in. And they can't stop the clock. They're out of timeouts. Down to 5 seconds. A near steal by Harris, but they get him on the foul.
Was the foul on Harris or Coleman?
Yep, they're going to call it on Kenny Harris. Oh, they're going to call it on Coleman. Excuse me. They were both going for it, and Coleman gets the foul, and now Bobby Pascal wants to talk it over.
It's still not over.
No, it's not. 85-82, but VCU will have the ball with 3 and 1/10 seconds left. Boy, oh boy. Can you believe Kenny Harris has 24 points in about the last 9 minutes of this game?
It's been an unbelievable individual effort by Kenny Harris, but, you know, where was he the first part of the game? That's just amazing. He's done everything you've asked the last 9 minutes, but up until then, he was really a non-factor.
What about now?
He's definitely become a factor, but now what do you do? Well, you've got to run a play, I would say, first of all, with Harris and Brower both coming off picks, maybe getting the defense confused as they come off a pick, both double on a player, leaving someone wide open. Yeah, obviously, you got to go for a 3-pointer with only 3.1 seconds left. So look for a good passer to take the ball out of bounds, and Harris and Brower swinging down lower baseline, coming off picks, maybe a single or even a double to try to get him open for 3.
Well, this is a new career high for Kenny Harris. Evidently, Kyle, just took him a while to figure out what we said, you know, early in the telecast. He's going to have to get some points.
Yeah, first 31 minutes, he hadn't scored a point. He sure turned it on since then.
Unbelievable.
Now, South Florida may also try to put a tall defender against the out-of-bounds man to distract his view so he can't see some of his teammates when they get open.
So it all comes down to the final 3.1, and they come to their feet in the Sun Dome.
VCU in a triangle. Now look for Harris and Brower to cross and they come out.
Gasurin to trigger it in. It comes into Brower. Here's Brower with the 3. It's there! And he ties it! Chris Brower completes the 26-point comeback And VCU had 1 foot in the grave, but only 85 all. We'll go to OT, and we'll have it from the Dome in a moment. 85. If you can believe it, South Florida enjoyed a 26-point lead in the second half. And then VCU all the way back to tie it at 85. And we'd like to welcome our viewers watching on Raycom. We are heading to overtime. VCU and South Florida. And if you can believe it, South Florida had a 26-point lead in the second half. But VCU came all the way back to tie it with this play.
The 3.1 second, Chris Bauer gets it off right before the horn sounds and gets nothing but net. It's all tied up.
Unbelievable comeback. Kenny Harris did not score a point in the first 31 minutes. And then 24 by Harris in the second half. So the 26-point deficit erased by the Rams. And now VCU with the lead. And the possession of the ball to begin the second half in the overtime. So the Rams with the momentum. Kyle, I tell you what, they were this close to being out of it, but Sonny Smith would not let them give up.
And you called it 1 foot in the grave, but Sonny said, we're not putting the second one in there yet. We still got some ball to play.
This guy has been incredible, Kenny Harris. And now the Rams running some patient offense.
Well, all of a sudden this game takes on a huge importance for South Florida as well. These young players to be up 26 and how they can respond, if they can come back and win, or if they go on to defeat, is it really going to ruin all the confidence that they have built up? There's Kenny Harris again.
He ran the shot clock down and picks up his 26th point. And folks, he did not have 1 point at all in the game with 9 minutes remaining. An incredible offensive show by Kenny Harris. And he was the guy, without a doubt, that staged the comeback.
He's one row that set the scene so Brower could hit the tying basket.
Chucky Atkins is one of 4 South Florida players that has been outstanding as well. He has had a career-high 23. The freshman from Orlando Evans High School, 87-85, VCU's first lead in a long, long time.
Shot clock down to 5.
Coleman tries to dish it off, and Mills comes up with a loose ball. So VCU has come all the way back, taking the lead in overtime by 2, and now the Rams with it. And McCoy did a smart thing, and VCU now wanting to run that half-court game and set up things again for Kenny Harris.
Yeah, both teams playing very patient in this overtime period. Unlike the way the game started out with both teams just up and down the floor.
And now we're going to have a foul inside. I believe Eugene Kasurin will get the offensive foul. Don't forget to stay with us on Raycom. We have more action in the Metro. UNC Charlotte, the 49ers hosting the Golden Eagles of Southern Mississippi. You'd be seeing it right now, but we're in overtime here in South Florida as VCU, an incredible comeback from 26 points down in the second half.
Chucky Atkins is live.
This guy, Chucky Atkins, has just been tremendous for Bobby Paschal today. 24 points for Chucky Atkins. I tell you what, Andre Davis, who's coming up in that next game you're going to see, is probably going to feel some footsteps from this young player.
Chucky's had a big day today. You know, you talked about the best thing about freshmen is they turn into sophomores. Well, these freshmen here at South Florida really have played well all season long and not made a lot of the freshman mistakes that normal freshmen do.
And we're knotted at 87 in OT. John Russell, Kyle Macy, and our Raycom crew, our producer Tom Ewan, director Toby Jenkins. And it has been quite a game. Brower on the run, can't get the shot that draws the foul. You know, it's one thing to make up a 26-point deficit, Kyle Macy, but VCU did it on the road, and I mean, when South Florida opened up that huge lead, this place was really hopping. Brower short on the free throw.
You know, an interesting point, too, in the way that VCU got back in the game was from their perimeter play, using the three-pointer with Harris. And now in the overtime, it's been Harris and Brower that have looked at the basket.
Brower missed them both, and he's an 82% free throw shooter. So South Florida and VCU in OT. Derek Sharp has had a terrific game as well with 20.
Jesse Salter's been kind of quiet, though. Look for him maybe to try to get a basket here.
And the 5-second count. Give Brower credit for good defense on Derek Sharp. So VCU will get it right back with 2:23 left in overtime.
South Florida really struggling on offense. Not sure what set they're in or what they're running or where they should be. Someone's got to take charge. Step forward and make some decisions here. Tell guys where to go, what to do.
It was so funny because we were sitting here courtside making mention of the fact that Kenny Harris hadn't scored and he really needed to step it up. And boy, did he really do it.
Oh, great pass by Kasurin.
It was indeed Kasurin over to Sharon Mills. And Mills now has a new career high with 24. And VCU back in front by 2. And Atkins the 3. Hadn't taken one in a while. And McCoy has the rebound, and the Rams with the lead and the ball. Brower, his 3. McCoy, the follow.
Well, not a good shot by Brower, but McCoy right on the spot to get the board and put it back.
And VCU has opened up a 4-point lead in overtime. And once again, don't forget UNC Charlotte and Southern Miss coming up next. A little bit late with that one because of this overtime game, but will have to go down as one of the most dramatic comebacks ever in Metro Conference play.
South Florida needs a good shot here.
Sharp has it slapped away, but Brower's going to get the foul, and Derek Sharp with 1 minute and 1 second left will go to the free throw line.
Crowd getting a little impatient. They took their time on the offense there, but they wanted to make sure they got in the right set and got the shot. Once again, you've got your free throw shooter at the line you'd like to see. Derek Sharp shooting in the 80%.
Now, Kasurin's going to leave. He's the one that actually is ticketed with the foul. He'll leave with 6 points. And now Sonny Smith will walk up Rodney Ashby to the scorers table. Of course, you probably know one of the top scorers in the Metro Conference, Kendrick Warren, in the first meeting between these two 9 days ago, broke his foot and is out for the year. VCU got a great win in Texas earlier this week, and then really just fell behind and was playing horrible in this one until they staged the huge 26-point comeback. And Sharp has missed a couple of key free throws as well, and he shoots them at an 82% clip. And he has 21. A 2-point game as we're under a minute. And now a little pressure from South Florida.
Right, VCU didn't recognize it at first. They kind of left Kenny Harris back there by himself. Crowd wanted over and back, but the ball was deflected, so Harris could touch it in the backcourt.
A 15-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. And you can bet VCU is going to try to run down both as they can.
You know that's killing Brower not to shoot that wide open 3.
Oh, yeah. He wanted to. Shot clock at 10. And now Harris is going to take it one-on-one against his opposite number 12, and Harris missed it, but they get Atkins on the foul. So Chucky Atkins picks up the foul. Kenny Harris will go to the line for 2. And with 18 and 9/10 seconds remaining in overtime, VCU has the 2-point lead. And this guy, Kenny Harris, as you see Chucky Atkins with 4 fouls, he has not been on the bench either. I mean, you talk about a gutty effort for the transfer from North Carolina. As you see Brower go out, a little rebounding in, Terrence Gibson.
Well, Harris really breathing hard at the free throw line. Let's see how he can react, if he can calm down, get it to go in. Got that one. I tell you, he's done everything, though. And the first part of the game is trying to set up his teammates, and then he recognized that that didn't work. I thought maybe he waited a little long before he recognized that and started taking over the offensive load on himself, and he's done it all.
I've never seen a player produce so many points in such a short period of time. 28 for Kenny Harris. Here's Atkins with the three. Salters trying to keep it alive, but McCoy saves it in. And it's knocked out of bounds, and it belongs to South Florida with 7 and 8/10 seconds to go. But VCU leads it by 5.
Excuse me, Don. Mistake that time by McCoy is don't throw it in underneath your own basket. Throw it down the floor.
One of the most incredible comebacks in Metro Conference history. There's Sharp, and he hits the three, and South Florida takes the timeout.
It's not over yet.
No,
4.6.
not at all. That's the time left in this one, and we'll be right back after this in overtime. Coming up next, if you're expecting to see it, you will shortly. UNC Charlotte and Southern Mississippi on Raycom. That should be a good one from the Charlotte Coliseum, but I tell you what, it hasn't been something for the weak of heart here in Tampa, Florida in the Sun Dome. South Florida a 26-point lead at 1 point in the second half, and Kenny Harris has scored 28 points in about 14 minutes.
Look for the long run out this time.
And VCU with the lead by 2, and the ball, it comes into Harris, and Harris is fouled in the backcourt. So Kenny Harris will go to the line with 2.1 seconds. Now, Bobby Pascal has to really be disappointed, not in his team's effort, but I mean, at one point, they were just putting on a clinic, and VCU looked as if they were ready to pack it up and go home before that guy, Kenny Harris, just stepped up and said, hey. And I mean, he did it himself.
He really did.
One-on-one, he shot 3-pointers. I mean, he was the whole offense. And there's a big, big free throw. He can put the icing on this one. And if he does, Kyle, he'll have 30 points in about a 14-minute stretch.
He may be my candidate for Metro Conference Player of the Week.
I would imagine. That is incredible. Kenny Harris completes it with 30. And now a timeout with 2.1 seconds to go. VCU leads by 4. We're back with more after this. In Tampa, Florida, 95-91, and looks pretty good for VCU to complete that masterful comeback, Kyle.
It's just been unbelievable, and there's the man responsible, Kenny Harris. They're back out on the floor now. They know with 4-point lead in 2.1 seconds, they just stand still. It's their ball game.
Southern Miss and UNC Charlotte coming up next on Raycom from the Charlotte Coliseum. Stay with us for that. Should be a good one. Sonny Smith, I saw him tell his team, said, don't move. He said, stand still. And let's see if they answer him. They are not moving. Here's Atkins with a long three that's not there, and VCU, an amazing comeback, 26-point deficit, 95-91, the Rams winning.